Welcome to the Navigating My Crazy podcast. I'm Shayla. Navigating My Crazy is a weekly podcast created for moms trying to balance life, family, purpose, and wanting to improve their mental wellness. Our goal is to inspire conversations necessary to end the stigma associated with mental health and the unrealistic societal expectations related to being a mom. But most importantly, to create a community so that no mom ever feels alone as we all navigate this crazy thing called life together. Let's start this show. Welcome. This week's episode of the Navigating My Crazy podcast is A Mother's Love. This episode is dedicated to To'Nia Danielle Jerrell, who was born and unfortunately passed on December 3rd, 2015. We will be chatting with her mom, TeAra, about the effects of losing her daughter, as well as PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, its symptoms, and the direct correlation of the associated cyst to the death of To'Nia. Welcome, TeAra. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's just talk about some of the issues or symptoms that you've seen in yourself that make you think that you have PCOS.
One of the symptoms is your hormones is one. Your hormones develop some things like chest hair, chin hair, weight gain, weight loss. And as far as my research concerns, that's basically what it is. And you have the ovarian cyst, which I had. That's the reason how I lost my daughter. And they grow, they come. The only cure that is for the birth control that they give you. And so you really don't know that you have it until you do your own research or go to a doctor and they tell you that you have that.
So as far as the symptoms are concerned, kind of looking back, do you remember like when some of the symptoms started?
Most of the symptoms started through puberty, and I thought most of the chin hair, chest hair is hereditary. You know, you see your grandma and your great aunt or whoever have long strings of hair. Okay, I got that because such and such, you got it. And I'm thinking that that's what that is. And then you get that one or two string of chest hair in between your breast and your cleavage area, whatever. So I started noticing that when you go to the doctor, and I had a cyst, which they say, quote unquote, that they burst, but they don't. So I went to the doctor back in 2004. I had a cyst that it didn't rupture because they don't rupture. They either grow or they shrink. So it must have like rubbed against something or something. I really don't know. I had to go to the doctor, and it comes during the stages of when you have to do a bowel movement. It's like an elastic popping, and you're like bent over and you can't get up or whatever. And so when I used to go to my GYN for my annual checkup, and they'll press on your stomach and say, does that hurt? Well, me not knowing what it is, that don't hurt. You know, I'm thinking I'm so used to it, and they press on it, would that hurt? And in my mind, okay, I don't want to be diagnosed with nothing. It don't hurt. Probably in my early 20s, I just turned 40. I had my daughter when I was 36, 37. They didn't say anything about it then whenever I was pregnant. So I was like, okay, well, let me do my own research about this.
When we were talking the other day, and I remember you were saying like when you were 6 to 14 weeks that you didn't have any cysts.
Right.
You were going back and forth to the doctor, going to your regular checkups, and everything was fine?
Yeah.
Had you had cysts prior?
The way that they find them now, not only in your annual checkup, they press on your stomach, but I advise everybody to at least get one ultrasound. And when you say ultrasound, you're like, oh, I'm pregnant. But some people get ultrasound GYN checks to make sure. And if you have any slight pain or you have more cramps or your cycle is bleeding more than normal, then you should be able to get an ultrasound. I have the little camera thing, and they'll find and see if you have any cysts. But if any type slight pain during sex, after sex, if you're not even having sex and you have any kind of slight pain above your in your ovary area, above your cervix, then I recommend they get that checked.
So you just talked about periods. Did you have normal periods? I
had normal periods. And the only thing about it, during my periods, sometimes I have some kind of clotting during that time, but I'm thinking, okay, that's normal. But not necessarily is that normal all the time, because some of the clotting could be because of that. Clot is ain't nothing but tissue.
Right.
So you have to find out where that tissue come from.
Were you on birth control prior? Do you think that may have been the reason why your symptoms were kind of at bay?
Before I got pregnant, I was not on birth control when I got pregnant. I had stopped birth control 2 years prior. I was like, well, this is not working. They're not shrinking my cysts. They're not doing anything. So let me get off birth control. It's not helping. So I started working out and I started losing the weight and bam. So when that happened, I was excited and I went to the doctor and I had one that was as small as an ink pen dot. And she was like, okay, well, we'll just watch it. After that, went for all of my checkups. Sometimes when you're pregnant, because I have a cousin now, she's pregnant and she had cysts. But hers are dissolving. They're getting smaller because of the baby. I'm not sure what hormone or whatever they have her on to shrink those or make them go away. But hers they're starting to leave. Mine started to grow, which I don't know why, So, but I recommend if you are pregnant and you do have cysts, pay for those extra ultrasounds that your insurance does not pay for. Because that's what... my insurance only paid for 2 ultrasounds at the time. That's one when you find out you're pregnant, and the other one when you find the sex of the baby.
Which is like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, which is when you're like 21 weeks and they tell you, hey, you're having a girl, you're having a boy. But after that, you don't get any more ultrasounds. And from 21 weeks to my 36 weeks, I had 4 baseball-sized cysts that grew while I was pregnant. They grew rapidly.
So they didn't consider that you were high risk when you saw the cysts when you were pregnant?
Well, they did consider me being high risk. 1, because of my age. 2, because of my weight. That's what I actually wanted to talk about too, is because whenever I was going to my regular doctor at 16 weeks, my doctor told me I needed to come up with X amount of dollars to pay her before I turned 21 weeks. Well, I'm already 16 weeks. I got 5 more weeks before I had to come up with $3,000, $4,000. Therefore, what I did is I went and found me another doctor. And it's hard to find other doctors when you're high risk. They see your paperwork. No, we're not going to be able to take you. No, we're not going to be able to take you. Well, you find this one doctor that will.
Right.
So you get excited. I don't blame him as a doctor I don't know, one, if he didn't read my paperwork and see that I had cysts. That was the doctor that told me that I was having a girl. So evidently, he did the ultrasound. He didn't see it. It was in the paperwork showing that I did have that one, when I was pregnant. So, like I said, I don't blame him as a doctor, but if you had it in the past, I just recommend everybody just to do their own research. Pay for those ultrasounds. I told my cousin we're going to pay for them. I don't care because we can't go through this again.
Right. And just to keep asking questions.
And just keep asking questions,
24 weeks. You had 4?
Yeah, I had 4. 4 baseball sizes.
Wow. Did they cause you any pain?
They didn't, and they did not cause me any pain. I had a very, very good pregnancy. Only sickness that I ever had while I was pregnant is acid reflux and a lot of heartburn. Your grandma say this: you got a heartburn because your baby got a lot of hair.
Yes.
So then she came out, she had no hair. So I am to the point now where I can laugh about little things like that to help me get over it. As far as any complications, no, just acid reflux, a little heartburn here and there, of course the weight gain because you're pregnant. But other than that, nothing. When I actually had her, and I didn't think that she was gone because November the 19th was my last doctor's appointment, the last time I heard a heartbeat. Though a week after that, I had a baby shower. So I didn't think anything else about it because that night after the baby shower, I had a foot to come through I can see my baby's foot. You know, you get excited. I can still feel her move. But when I had her, the doctor had said she had passed away either a week and a half or 2 weeks prior. So that was like a day after November the 19th when I had my last ultrasound. So she was already gone, but I'm like, okay, doctor, so what was this foot I seen? Right. He was saying that that's your cyst that was contracting her body to make it seem like she was moving. Other than that, that was the only sign that now that I look back, that's what's going on. I had a checkup December the 3rd. You have November, that's 2 weeks. I was on every 2 weeks. So November the 19th to December 3rd was my 2 weeks. So when I went back to the doctor on December 3rd, I didn't eat that morning. I was like, okay, well, me and To'Nia, we're going to stop at McDonald's when we leave, because that was our ritual. We're going to stop at McDonald's when we leave the doctor's office or whatever. And so that morning I had a banana. When I went to the doctor for my regular checkup, the doctor felt around. Well, Miss Jerrell, there's no heartbeat. We're going to send you across the street to North Monroe Hospital. Called my mom. My mom called Jesus and everybody in the family. And I mean, I had a lot of people praying for me. I called her dad, and I told my mom, they can't find a heartbeat. And so she said, well, what are you going to do now? I said, I got to go to North Monroe Hospital. Well, North Monroe Hospital, they couldn't find the paperwork. The doctor didn't send it. So I went back over to the doctor's office, and I went back over to North Monroe Hospital. I'm like still crying in between because nobody is getting their stuff together and all this kind of stuff. So finally, North Monroe got everything checked out, and the lady, she did the vaginal ultrasound again, and she was in there for 5-6 minutes, and she was measuring, and she was quiet, and I'm like, okay, what do you see? Right. Can you tell me something? And she was like, well, there is no heartbeat. And right now what I'm doing is measuring the cyst and seeing how many is it. So therefore, when we take her out, we'll know what we're dealing with. Everybody's crying and everything. So I go back over to the doctor's office, drive back over there. And then the doctor was like, I tell you what, today is Thursday. We're going to hold on to you till Monday. I said, doctor, look, why do you want me to continue to carry this baby for another 3 or 4 days, knowing that she's not there? And it was like, we just want to make sure that she's gone. Well, you had no heartbeat, and this person over here had no heartbeat. Let's take her out today. We're going to take her out today. If she's alive, she'll do well, and I believe in God that He'll make a way. So why do you want me to hold this baby in for another 3 or 4 days? He's like, well, I tell you what, we're going to take her out today.
Wait. So they let you leave the hospital. You drove back to the...
Well, the hospital that I had her at is a St. Francis. Okay. The closest hospital that they had around for me to do a check to make sure she was okay was North Monroe. Okay. Yeah. They go to cross the street to North Monroe, come back to his office for him to do, because they had all the more technical stuff over there at North Monroe, and then I drove back over to his doctor's office. And he was like, well, I met him in a little office, like this. And he was like, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to just let you hold off until Monday. I'm like, that's
traumatic.
Yeah. So that night at December the 3rd, 2015 at 8:42, I had To'Nia Danielle Jerrell. I was just waiting for her to come out crying, but that happened, but, God works in mysterious ways.
Wow. So you had to do a vaginal delivery, or did they do a C-section?
I did a C-section. I did a C-section, and I have a nurse practitioner friend, and she was like, TeAra, don't do a C-section. Don't do a C-section. Why? Well, you have different problems with C-section. I'm not having her vaginal. Let's get this over with, basically. And so the doctor was telling me, well, if I would have had her vaginal, I would have had some complications with the cyst. But when they took her out, I had 4 cysts. They can only remove 3 because at the time they were already on 20 to 21 towels. And medically, you can only use 20 to 21 towels when you're having surgery. Towels, like to soak the blood.
Oh, wow.
Towels. And so whenever they hadn't even removed her. And I was still on 21 towels. And so when they removed her, they had to go ahead and, seal me up, and they left 1 cyst in there. That's why they put me on birth control to control that. Right now, at this point, I have 2. The first one shrunk and went away. Now I have 2 more that has grown. So that's why I'm on birth control. And at this point, I'm trying to do what I did before I had her, before I got pregnant, as far as exercise. Because when you have PCOS symptoms or weight gain, and after I had her, of course you go under depression. Yes. I was eating everything under the sun, or, I had that depression, and now through the depression, I'm going through counseling, which makes it a whole lot better, and that's where I am now.
It's good to hear that you're going through counseling, but I do have another medical question. Do you just do like an annual, even though you have cysts, or do you see the doctor?
My annual is different because whenever I go to get my annual checkup now, I have a vaginal ultrasound. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I recommend, even if the doctor say they don't want to give it to you, pay for it. Because it's healthy. I mean, it's just like a woman thinking that she has breast cancer but don't get a mammogram. Right. I recommend everybody to get that vaginal ultrasound. If you don't do it every year, do it every 2 years. Mm-hmm. Do it when you can, but I demand mine to be a vaginal. I have my regular checkup, which is I get my fibroids checked, my mammograms and diseases and blood work, and I want to have my vaginal ultrasound. That's what I do. I demand that.
I know you talked about depression, just some of the things you're doing now to help. So what advice would you give to another mom who has lost their baby that maybe you would have done earlier, which you think may have helped your process?
As far as depression, my depression came from not feeling the actual love from others. So in that way, I would advise people to try to show love to people that you know are going through. Some kind of way I had to kind of figure it out by myself, because everybody shows love after you have the baby, but then they have to go back to their life. They have to go back to work, their kids, and all this kind of stuff. So how I handled mine was music, gospel music, just being out, or just being alone, finding myself. We talked about finding ourselves earlier too. Just figuring out who you are, and don't fault yourself. I didn't fault myself because of the loss. Because if now I have an angel, watching over me, Mama, don't do that. Don't go over there. That's kind of how I deal with the whole thing as far as depression. Like I said, I'm in counseling now. I didn't start counseling until November of last year. And I had 2.5 years to figure it out that I needed counseling. My depression, I ate. And I was just a total B word, but dealing with depression is something that you have to figure out. First, you have to realize that you're depressed.
Absolutely. You
have to figure out that, hey, something's wrong. I'm depressed. I need to talk to somebody to see if they think that I'm depressed too, because mine didn't come until my mom was like, hey, you might need to go talk to somebody. Because I wasn't TeAra anymore. Right. That cheerful, laughing person. I would just get off work, go in my room, don't talk to me, leave me alone. Right. But now it's just like, girl, hey, girl.
Right. So she's back.
I'm back. It took 3 years, but I'm back.
That's good. That's good to hear. One of the things that we talked about the other day, and I was just saying as a friend. So as somebody that's supporting, a lot of times we don't know what to do or what to say. So what do you advise for the support system when someone loses a baby? Like, what's the things that you should do and shouldn't do? Because it's always that fine line.
If somebody was to come up to me and ask me how or what did you do, I would tell them, but at the same time, I would be a listening ear. I would say, if somebody asks questions, don't hesitate to ask somebody questions, or if somebody that's in life in general. Right. If somebody has something going on, all they want you to do is listen. Right. They want you to be that shoulder, somebody they can, I guess, put their burdens on. But at the same time, we say, we're going to put our burdens on the Lord. But, the Lord gives us people. Absolutely. And if I can't talk to you, I'm not going to come around you anymore. If I don't feel comfortable talking to you about a situation. And a lot of people ask me questions, and I don't get tired of people asking me, well, how'd you lose your daughter? Right. How did you deal with it? Because at the same time, I'm helping somebody else along the way. So I don't mind people asking questions or want me to talk to them, or even just listen to what they got to say. Even though you don't have time, make time for people. That's all people need is love and somebody that listens to them.
I remember seeing the baby shower pictures, and I remember you posting that you had lost her. And that's one of the things I saw that you did that a lot of people don't do. Is every year on her birthday you post about. In December, I know that you're going to post about your daughter. I know that your daughter passed. But a lot of times when the baby passes as a baby, people just kind of feel like, well, you don't have that attachment, or they don't know what to ask. Is it appropriate to ask what happened? Unfortunately, that's a lot of times why people don't know about infertility issues, how people lose babies, don't know to ask the right things at the doctor's office, because we don't know the line to cross or not to cross to ask someone when they lost their baby. Well, what happened? What information can we share with another person that wants to have a baby or that is expecting and they have cyst or don't know that they have cyst, or to ask for, like you said, the vaginal ultrasounds. I have been thinking about asking, but again, like, is it appropriate? Like you said, just ask.
Yeah, just ask. Only thing about it is it's about feeling that person. They will tell you
how comfortable.
It depends on how comfortable they are with you, because like now that I'm dating, that's not the first thing that I tell a guy. Hey, I lost the baby on December 3rd. But in conversation later on, if they feel comfortable with you, they'll tell you what's going on with their life. People don't upfront just tell you, bam, such and such died yesterday. In conversation, just treat it as just a regular conversation. And if the person doesn't want to tell you about the situation, they won't. But me, myself, I guess because I'm just a talkative person, I'll just come out and tell you. But if you ask, and do it this way, and if you're having these complications, then you need to ask the doctor this, and that. And that's why now ask, and once that person feels comfortable with you, then they'll fill you in with anything you want to know, just in general. Just like a regular conversation.
A lot of these conversations, especially about women's health, about periods, it's like stuff you whispered in the corner, finding ways to hide the fact that I have a tampon and I'm going to the bathroom, like stuffing it in your boob, put it under your arm, hiding the things that we have to go through, and then not having these conversations. That's really one of the reasons for the podcast, because it's so much somebody could avoid if we have a conversation and say things out loud. Somebody has this question. Somebody's going through this right now and they're scared or concerned, and it's, well, this is how you structure the conversation with your doctor. This is what you look for in a doctor, because again, if you could go back and pick another doctor, what would be the things that you would pick in a doctor? What is it? A personality? Is it just the questions that they ask, the thoroughness of it, or some things unfortunately are just gonna happen?
I think that in finding a doctor, it's good to have good doctor friends or somebody associated with a doctor. You have a nurse or a nurse practitioner, and they know everybody almost. Absolutely. So it's good to just ask questions. Picking a doctor is kind of like in an interview. Absolutely. What can you do for me? In this case, I'm older now, so now I know.
Right.
That grandma said, when you know better, you do better. So now it's to the point where I find a doctor is I ask them questions. What can you do for me, or how can you help me? Because at the same time,
because I'm paying you.
Yeah, because I'm paying you.
Right. You're not doing me any favors. And a lot of times we do go into the doctor's office like they're doing us a favor. Sometimes they're rushing. You're in and you're out, and you didn't really get to ask the question. You just told me I had this, and now you want to walk out the door? No, let's talk about it.
Because like now, my A1C was up 1 point, and she wants me to start taking diabetic medicine, and that's one of the symptoms of PCOS too. Something else for me to take every day. I'm already on birth control. I already take my vitamins, and it's just going to be something's going to get left behind. I'm not going to take it. Now it's to the point where when they, of course, when they tell you you're diabetic, you start working out. I'm going to go work out, girl. Right. Go get me a gym membership, and I'm finna get this weight off of me. And so that's kind of where I am now, because I don't want any other medicine. And now I'm to the point where I want to get off birth control. Not saying that I want to have another child, but it's not helping me any as far as the cysts, because the cysts are still there. They're still growing. So if I'm on birth control and they're supposed to help with the cysts, they're not helping with the cysts, so why am I taking birth control? That's just another something to take every day.
And another thing we talked about the other day, as far as with the hormones, was like the acne.
Yeah, I'm 40 years old, and I do still have acne, and that's part of the PCOS. I do take another medicine from my dermatologist, and it calms it. But when you're growing up, think, oh, maybe because I eat chocolate or I eat too much sugar, that reason I have acne. But not all acne is because of what you eat or what you do. Now I have to wear sunscreen whenever it gets hot outside. I have to wear sunscreen because of my acne. It's not bad. It's not bad like it used to be when I was younger, but I still have it. I have my flare-ups, and that's a part of it.
I'm on birth control for my hormones because of my acne. I had hormonal acne. And like you said, when I was growing up, I had acne really, really bad. Okay, now I'm older. I still have acne.
You think it's supposed to go away?
What's the benefit of me being older if I still have acne? A lot of times doctors, and we just talked about this earlier, they just put Band-Aids on symptoms, and they are not taking the whole of you and saying, okay, well, you have these 5 symptoms. This may equate to you having this, other than just picking out the fact that, okay, you have acne, go to the dermatologist, you have this, go to this person. And you're going to all of these different doctors, and that's probably a part of it too. It's all of the combined information is not getting back. Yeah. You have to ask for those things, but you have to know about them to even ask.
You need to figure out why you have blood clots or why your cycle is lasting longer than normal. Longer cycles, shorter cycles. But once you get older, more signs come. Your body is starting to grow.
Yeah, and then a lot of times you do associate the changes with the fact that you're getting older. And you just say, well, I'm getting older. It's probably part of it. But check to make sure.
I have a lady now, she goes to our church, and she was going through menopause. And then her cycle hit hard. Really, really hard, and she started clotting, and she has ovarian cancer. Wow. So definitely, it's just that important. It's just that important because that's how cancer grows. It has to grow off something, so it's very important.
All right. So as a call to action, and what do you want to tell any other mom that's listening that may have lost a child, or anyone that may be experiencing some of the symptoms, not really sure what to do? What's your advice for them?
Ask, talk, communicate, and don't do it alone.
Oh, that's good. Well, thank you so much, TeAra, for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad you were open to share this information because I absolutely know that it's going to help someone. And so thank you for coming.
Thank you, Shayla.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Navigating My Crazy podcast. Don't forget to send all of your questions to questions@navigatingmycrazy.com, or you can complete the form on our website at navigatingmycrazy.com/contact. Also, join the community and chime in on the conversations by liking and following Navigating My Crazy on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Subscribe and rate us 5 stars on iTunes or your favorite podcasting platform. Moms, have a great week and get ready for our next Talk It Out Tuesday.